Hey there, YouTubers. Tom here from Tom's Test Kitchen. And I'm going to make my, I think it's the best New York style cheesecake in the world. So I'm going to be making my New York style cheesecake today specifically for the Real Women of Philadelphia. They're having a contest. They want to see who has the best cheesecake recipe. And this is a pretty big competition. The grand prize is $5,000. So let's get this started. I've got 3 8-ounce packages of cream cheese, and this is Philadelphia cream cheese. Do not skimp. I've tried using store brands. It doesn't quite turn out the same. So there's a plug for Philadelphia cream cheese. And I've got here, what we're going to do is add a cup of sugar with 2 tablespoons of flour and 1/4 teaspoon of salt. And then you just want to mix this all up really good. This is one of the things I love about this cheesecake. It's more like a cake. The texture is more cakey because it does have this flour and the salt. So it kind of, it's not just like a custard type of a cheesecake. So let's just mix that up really good. I've got here 2 whole eggs and 1 egg yolk, and I'm trying something different today. This is a 1/4 cup of almond milk. I think it'll work out really well. It's got a great flavor, and it'll add a little bit of that almond flavor to it. And then I've got some fresh squeezed lemon juice, and I've got some vanilla. So let's get started on our filling here. So I'm just going to add this to my mixer. I'll be right back. Okay, I've got the cream cheese in the mixer. So now I'm just going to turn it on. Oop. Better raise it. Turn it on and add the eggs. A 1/2 teaspoon of lemon juice. 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. I'll get a spatula. Okay, that looks good. Okay, now we're going to slowly add the sugar, flour, and salt. Get that incorporated really well. Scrape that down really good. Want to get everything mixed well. Raise the speed on the mixer. We don't want to whip it. We want to combine everything really well. So I'm going to slowly add the 1/4 cup of almond milk. Yeah, it's coming together nice. One thing I like about this, really like about this recipe is there's just enough lemon juice to give it that lemony flavor. I've had a number of cheesecakes where the lemon flavor was just really overpowering. I think this is a perfect balance of lemon juice as well as vanilla. Okay, let's scrape this down really good. We don't want to lose any of this. Get in there. Okay, give it another go around. Okay, now I'm just gonna refrigerate this while I make the crust. So I'll be back with you when I'm ready to do the crust. Now onto the crust. So I've got here 3/4 of a cup of flour. I'm gonna add 6 tablespoons, yes, 6 tablespoons of softened unsalted butter. And then 3 tablespoons of sugar. And then we've got 1 slightly beaten egg yolk. Yeah, this is really a rich crust. I prefer this crust over a graham cracker crust any day. It's more like a sugar cookie. Go with a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. And then again, a 1/2 teaspoon of fresh lemon juice. Now this makes this a lot easier. This is a pastry cutter for cutting in, because you want to cut that butter in to the flour with everything else. I'm going to need that knife. So we want to cut the butter and the vanilla and the lemon juice and the egg, cut that into the flour. If you don't have a pastry cutter, you can use 2 butter knives and kind of crisscross it like scissors, but I find that to be kind of time consuming, so I would suggest getting one of these pastry cutters if you're going to be doing a lot of this kind of stuff. It's really useful for making homemade biscuits and stuff. I highly recommend one. Every now and then you have to do this, scrape it down, because you want to get that butter really incorporated in with the flour. So just continue on with this. Mixing continuously as you go to really mix that sugar in there well. And that's pretty much it. Just scrape this guy off. Done with that. So this is basically what you're looking for. You don't want to like completely, melt it. Oops, melt it down in there, because you want it kind of like pea-size shapes of the butter. So now let's get to make the actual crust. I'll be right back. We'll actually prepare the crust for the cake. Let's start by making the bottom crust of our cheesecake. Here I've got an 8-inch cheesecake pan. You could use an 8-inch springform pan, but I bought this a while back and I've made many cheesecakes, and I really like using it, so I continue using it. So I'm going to set this aside while I make the bottom of the crust. And you need to cook this before you put the batter into the pan. Otherwise you'll end up with a real soggy bottom. So we just want to put a nice handful of the crust mixture and pat it out. This is actually the trickiest part of the whole thing, is getting this crust made. You don't want to go all the way out to the edges. You'll see why in a minute. I know it doesn't look pretty right now, but it will. Okay, this is going to go into a preheated 400-degree oven for about 7 minutes. And then I'll be back then. Our crust is ready. I'll let it cool down a little bit so that I can handle it. It's got a nice head start, so it won't be mushy. So let's just put that down into the pan and get the rest of our flour and butter mixture and start going around the edge. So you just want to press it in there and press it down and connect it with the crust on the bottom, like so. Go up about 1.5 inches. Just continue around like this. I'm going to finish doing this and I'll be back and we'll put the filling in. Okay, I've got a tray in the oven. I'm going to add hot water to it. And you want to do it like this because you don't want to carry a tray of hot water. Spill it all over you or all over the place. This is going to add some moisture to the oven that will help keep the cheesecake from cracking. Okay, let's get on with our mixture. Time to put this cheesecake together. We got the crust and everything. Then we're just going to add the filling. Oh man, that looks like it's going to be really good. Get it all out of there. Clean off any of that filling that got on the rim because it'll burn. Tap it really good, get out any bubbles. Come on, bubbles, get out of there. Just pop them with your finger. Okay, this is going to go into a 450-degree oven for 10 minutes And then I'm going to reduce the temperature down to 300 and then bake for another 50 to 55 minutes. So into the 450 degree oven. And I've adjusted the rack to the middle of the oven. So you want to put it in the middle of the oven. Yeah, got some nice moisture going on in there with that pan of water. Okay, see you in another 55 to 60 minutes. There's 55 minutes. Let's see how we did. Toothpick in the center. Doesn't come out completely clean, but I think that's okay because the cheesecake is going to be like that. I have done this before where I let it go a little bit longer and then the cheesecake turns out not so creamy, comes out, I don't know, not as good. This will continue cooking, and don't worry about these cracks around the edges because once this settles, it'll fill in. That right there, my friends, is an award-winning cheesecake. And it smells heavenly. So I'm just going to let this cool. And then I'm going to refrigerate it for at least a couple hours. And then we're going to eat it. Cheesecake is cooled down enough. Handle, it's still hot. I'll grab my little pot holder. So I need to grab my big pot holder too. There we go. Thing of beauty. Cracks are inevitable. You can't help it. Even with the moisture from the tray in there, tray of water, you're still going to get this because there's so much moisture in there trying to escape. It's going to make its way to the surface. But once this cools down, it will kind of come back together. Look at that. Look at that crust. That crust turned out perfect. Can't wait to try a slice of this. I'm going to refrigerate this for a couple of hours and let you know how it tastes. Well, cheesecake is ready. It's been chilling in the refrigerator for a couple of hours, so let's cut into this. I found a good spot because I got to take a photo of this for the Women of Philadelphia cream cheese cheesecake contest. So just found the perfect slice here, and that is perfect. Look at that. That's exactly what I look for in a cheesecake. Nice creamy texture. That looks good. Okay, so I'm gonna have to pause and take a photo of this because I have to include a photo with the recipe. So I'll be right back. Okay, picture's been taken. Let's try some of this cheesecake. Look at that. That texture is just perfect. It's got a nice cakey-like texture. Nice and creamy. Definitely thumbs up. I really like that, using that almond milk in there. I'll have to do that from now on. Really gives it a great flavor. This is hands down the best cheesecake I've ever made, but I say that every time I make a cheesecake. And that crust, perfect. It's just what I look for in a cheesecake. There you go. My cheesecake.